Sevda and her friend Cemre were planning a surprise birthday for Aslı, whose birthday it was today. Since it was the weekend, they hadn't gone to school. Aslı was turning 12 today. Sevda and Cemre, having obtained permission from their mothers, set out towards Aslı's house with a cake and gifts in their hands. Despite it being only noon, the weather suddenly darkened. Cemre, claiming to be afraid of the dark, tried to cling to Sevda's arm. Sevda, holding the cake, and Cemre, holding the gifts, noticed that Sevda was struggling to carry the large cake, and with Cemre trying to cling to her arm, the load became even more challenging. Sevda knew why the weather had darkened. There was a solar eclipse today, and the darkening sky didn't frighten her. She said to Cemre, "The sky is dark because of the solar eclipse. Don't be scared. It will pass soon." Ignoring Sevda, Cemre had already started to quicken her steps, not realizing that she was pulling Sevda along. Suddenly, Cemre was overcome with such fear that she handed the gifts to Sevda and without saying anything, started running down the street in a panic. Now, Cemre was alone in the dark street. Running without knowing where or which direction she was heading, she ran as if she would find clear skies by running in that direction. She was almost out of breath. She ran and ran and ran. While running, she couldn't think of anything. She had left Sevda far behind, and without knowing what she was doing, she had thrown herself into the dark streets. It felt like Cemre had been running for years. Her legs were not listening to her, they were just continuing to run. Then suddenly the sky started to brighten. Gasping for breath, she put her hands on her knees and stopped where she was. She had run without stopping, without thinking about anything. Now the sky had cleared, but she had forgotten why and how she had run so much, just trying to catch her breath. Suddenly, she felt someone touch her from behind. She was so scared that without turning to see who it was, she screamed and continued running. This time she wouldn't stop, she would run as far as she could. Now that it was no longer dark, she was trying to calm down, but she couldn't. Not knowing what to do, she continued to run, and a voice called her name. How did this voice know her name? Feeling that she couldn't run anymore, she decided to stop where she was. The voice was getting closer. She wanted to turn back, but her body, like her legs, wasn't listening to her. It wasn't allowing her to turn back. Finally, the voice started coming from right behind her. She couldn't say anything. She couldn't explain anything. So she couldn't provide any explanation. The face that looked at her with doubt was none other than her friend Sevda. "I've been chasing after you for how many minutes, Cemre? Why did you run like crazy?" Cemre had nothing to say, so she couldn't make any explanation. Along the way, Sevda explained to Cemre what a solar eclipse was, and Cemre learned not to be afraid of things she knew. In silence, they continued walking towards Aslı's house. Along the way, Sevda told Cemre about the solar eclipse, and Cemre learned not to be afraid of things she knew. If you liked the video, do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.